in condos for 35 years. I have never felt the urgency to run for a board. I've gotten to know the community here. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I wanted to help out of here as quick as I could. And since I've gotten to know the community, I want to stay. And I wanted a better community.
One of the expressions that a friend of mine uses all the time, took me a while to figure it out, it's called cheap is dear. If you think about it for a second, you get what you pay for. And back about 18 months ago, for example, they painted the hallways in River Shores. Well, I watched them add water to the paint, but I also never saw management look around to see what was being done. And very often work occurs around the building, you don't see management. For example, our elevator entrances. We complained about that so many times, did discussions about it. They're in the same shape they were before they were painted 4 or 5 times. You get what you pay for. Cheap is dear. When you get the lowest bid, you sort of wonder, what are you really getting? Now, the other example is this is an area when David and I and Vinny back there went around to post these notices, we noticed some frightening things like light fixtures with cracks above on the ceiling. Now, the light fixtures have been turned off, but why are there cracks in the ceiling? We don't know why. There's no communication. The only thing we get is anger. The only thing we get is pettiness. The only thing that we get is silliness. And why? Why is this anger always venting? Why can't we have a pleasant management team that cares about the building, but also cares about us individually, that treats us with decency? We don't have it.
Yes. Could I get a promise that you all would go for an outside management company?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
I am definitely for that, an outside management company. I support that,
With hours.
with ours.
Well, there's lots of things.
So that contractors, when they come into this area, I mean, this is supposed to be a secure community. Yet anybody and everybody comes walking through those gates. Work on apartments anytime they want, 12 o'clock at night, Saturdays, weekends. Nobody's registered. You have no idea of who is coming into this complex. And it shouldn't be.
If you had an emergency, do you have a phone number of management to call? Does anybody have a phone number? Does that tell you something? If you send an email, you may not get a response. Chances are you won't get a response, or if you do, it's turned into a negative, nasty comment. But there's no phone number. There are no hours that we could go up and say, you know, my car is in the wrong space. It's just haphazard. And what we have is a manager that supposedly works 20 hours a week and gave himself a bonus because the puppets that were on the committee just sat there. So it was silly. And to give you an idea of the mentality of management, you could just turn around and look at Tony and all the funny faces that he's been making to get us annoyed. Just take a look. I just ask you to just take a look. Sitting there with a little camera and smiling, and then making faces. That's what we have, that's what we're living with.
That's what we pay for.
And we don't deserve it.
I used to be a real bitch, and I just said, well.
Believe me, I'm a real bitch
Now you
also.
become a big one.
Well, you know, I want to just, am I interrupting with anybody?
No, go right ahead.
I just wanted to say, you know, I'll be really honest with you. I'm 85 years old. Do you really think I want to be on the board? Do you think I want to be burdened with this junk that this guy's put up? But I feel an obligation. I can't sit on my hands. I can't allow us to be run by tyrant and a tyrannical board who takes no interest in the community. You know, I am one of the, I'll tell you who I am. I'm one of the fool people, quotes. I'm also the community organizer, in quotes. And I'm also the elder, in quotes, who's been referred to in various emails. The only difference between me and I suppose some other people is that there's nothing that gets me really excited. What gets me really annoyed is when I see mismanagement. And I see it all the time, and that's why I'm doing this. You know, I've been on many boards, I'm also now a full-time resident, so you really have me all the time. And God help me that I even said that, probably a mistake. But really, I only have the interest in the community. I've always been a fighter for where I live and for who I am, and I plan to continue to do that. And it may be difficult based on who else is elected, but I promise to try to make improvements in this community.
I think we all feel that way.
And I'm throwing back.
I want to read something that was sent out. This is one of the last emails that we got. Yeah.
Were you all vowed to be accessible by email, phone numbers?
Absolutely.
Yes, my address
Yes.
was given out.
The other thing that we can do too is have Zoom meetings. I mean, everybody does it. When we were down here earlier last year, when we left, we had put together a committee to take and figure out how to do the front entrance. We had several Zoom meetings, like when up at my place, and from everybody that was on the board. And there was a lot accomplished, but the whole thing was shot down. But yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of types of communication that can go forward. I mean,
But you
I've
have to
only
have a
been here
board
just
that's
shy of a year,
responsive.
and I have not received unsolicited anything from a board member. Not a single email from a board member unless I solicited it. And then I had to hunt to get their email address.
yeah.
Now, in our River Shores administration, who have not shown up here today, sent out an email a couple days ago, and they actually invited the renters to come and meet, as well as dog owners. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but if you are a renter and a dog owner, bingo. So where does this stuff come from? Why?
It's only to create tension and disagreement.
We were
That's where
all
it comes
painted
from.
as animal haters, rent haters. That's not the case. We just want things managed in our community. We want everything respected.
Do renters, I mean, do owners? I've always said, I said, as long as they get paid, they don't give a shit.
Exactly. But it's here. There's not much that we can actually do about it right now, other than to make sure that everything is documented. I mean, I'm not gonna turn around and say, I've lived in buildings that allow animals my entire 35 years, because I've had an animal. So it's not that I'm against animals. I'm against animals where they are not maintained, where they're allowed to annoy the other occupants, where they're not registered, where we have no idea whether they have their shots or not. That should all be part of what a management team puts together. So if you get bit, you don't have to chase some part-time renter to find out whether that dog has had its shots or not. You can go right to your management office.
Yeah, rabies shots are in your stomach.
The simplest things aren't done. For example, if an elevator breaks down in other buildings that I've lived in, and I've lived in co-ops and condos for about 40 years, I've never seen this. An elevator breaks down, no sign, you don't know if it's broken or not. You stand there pressing a button, the buttons don't work.
Which building do you live in?
I live in Essex, but I'm talking about your building. I find, where is the manager? Besides sitting around and sending venomous emails, where is the management? This is the kind of thing we don't have.
I want to make one thing perfectly clear about myself. I hope you're listening with the camera. I am not against dogs, I am for legal. And the state has indicated that you can't have dogs within the pool area, within the gate, and you can't have it within the pool, or the clubhouse. I mean, that's it. It's not for or against animals, it's for the law. And the law says you cannot have it.
Yes.
Janice?
I'm one of those that have a dog, and it's a service dog. It's been a service dog the whole time it's lived here. And I've had many people come up and be very, very rude to me, even people that used to be my friends.
Is the dog registered?
And, excuse me, let me finish. And, it's, you know, I used to have a good, friendly hello to everyone. I used to. But you know, there's so many people now that just, they don't even know me, they just see the dog and they make these noises. And they come and scream at me to get off the tennis court. There's no one on the tennis court. My dog needs exercise. I take good care of my dog. It listens to me, it behaves, and I treat it like it's my child. Hi, Tony. I know you gotta get me, so I'll stand up.
No,
It
It's
needs
okay.
exercise. I used to take it to a dog park when it was little, so that it became people-friendly, dog-friendly, bicycle-friendly, and it's friendly now. It doesn't have to go to the dog park to start doing what dogs do at dog parks, which I won't say, but you all know what they do.
so Janice,
So,
We could get-
excuse me.
Janice, we could get caught up in the dog problem for the
Okay,
next 20
I just have a
years.
couple more things to say, because I've never voiced my opinion.
Okay.
I was never asked once to see my paperwork for my service dog.
Thank you.
All that needs to be said.
Thank you. Excellent.
so Janice, I don't think they answered you.
Asked about your shots.
She did get.
I have been asked, and I
Okay.
told them that it was a service dog. And the last one that did it was just 2 days ago, and he didn't have much zin, because he said, "Your dog isn't a service dog, get out of here!" And I thought he was gonna knock me over. He never asked for it. He never asked to see the paperwork.
Doesn't that feel
So
better?
that's what I get.
Yeah.
Janice, did the board, did
What
the
about questions
candidates
from the
answer
group?
your question? Did they answer your question?
Excuse me, you weren't called
They don't
on.
have an answer.
Oh, okay, all right, sorry.
If you raise your hand, we'll know you want to speak.
I'd like to add to that, that I am personally engaged to a dog here on campus. So, just to make clear where I stand. No names.
Janice, what is your question?
I don't know which one.
My question was a statement.
No, I was
Oh,
Janice.
Janet, I'm sorry.
Sorry, you're Janice.
Which one are you
It's Jan-
referring to?
No, Janice, but
Oh,
I don't know who Andy's talking to.
Oh, I thought you were referring to your mom.
No, Janice, I thought she asked a question, but they didn't have an opportunity to answer it.
I don't know what the question
Oh. Well, about the dog being permitted at the pool.
The dog being permitted at the pool?
A service dog is permitted at the pool.
I'm not answering you, Tony, because you don't
Correct.
deserve respect. I've written you
Correct.
various emails
Mhm.
about certain things, and you know what they are. I will not tell everyone. And I get no email back, no response.
Mhm.
So you don't deserve to be
Okay.
recognized.
Can
back
I
in that
just make
chair.
one comment? Because I know there's at least one renter here, and I know there's at least one person from one of the other buildings. We love you. We really do. We appreciate, particularly in Maryland over there, we'd like you to get, if you can, talk to your neighbors and your friends, because they know somebody in River Shores, that they have a vote. And if you're a renter, or you know somebody that rents, have them call the owners of these apartments, because that's what's screwing things up. It's the owners that aren't here that don't know the devastation that's going on. So get to the owners of these apartments, because I'll tell you, Tony knows how to get to them, so we should find out how we can too. He won't even share mailing lists. Isn't that a little disturbing? We can't speak to these people. We can't send a memo to them. We can't tell them who we are. And that's a shame. That's really a shame. Because these are the people that should know that their buildings and the surroundings and the floral work and the grass is deteriorating. It's falling apart. The whole complex is falling apart. And why? Because we have 3 people on the Middle River Board who are there to spread their anger. I'm sorry if I'm having trouble with my speech, but I'm angry enough to say it. They're only there to show anger. And that's not River Shores. We're nice people. We care about you. Whether you're renting or you live in another building, I love getting in that pool and talking to people from other parts of this complex. They're lovely, lovely people. And what do we get from our representatives? Hate and anger. And it's sad.
I just
River
want to
Terrace
add,
and River Bend, they do a magnificent job taking care of the site.
I just want to
They water
respond
the grass.
to possibly a question that Janice had. Service dogs are allowed in the pool area and in the clubhouse, service dogs. We didn't know that your dog was a service dog.
Well, nobody
Not that
asked
we
at
had
the
anything to
board,
do with
that's
it.
the problem.
Yeah.
Everybody
Right.
wants to get rid of the dog, but
No,
never
it's
asked to
very
see my
clear that
paperwork.
service dogs are allowed in those public areas.
Janice,
Yes, they are.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are.
put a service dog thing on the outside of the dog. I said, you know, they have those little things that go on the outside of the dog that says service dog.
No, I don't have that.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, that's
I've
why
got
people don't know that
paperwork
it's.
if
Are there
anyone
any
wants
other
to see
questions
it.
really about some other areas?
Good.
One more. My name's Andy. I'm from Chase. I've lived here 5.5 years. I agree with a lot of what I'm hearing today, and I really like all the passion that I see from all 5 of you. But I'm more concerned about how you're going to communicate with the people that aren't here, because these are the 21 people that have voted for change in the past. But we have to reach everyone else if you truly want to implement change in this community.
Well-
And I don't know how we can do it, especially if the mailing list can't be released to you. If it can, then we should find out how.
We've been putting up posters.
But that's not gonna hit all the other owners.
Well, then, you need to speak to your management, and same way that we have, and we've contacted the state.
Actually,
you know,
management has
different
nothing to do with it, it's the board thing, the board can give us
Well, more
contact.
than, in other
See,
words,
and the problem is-
same way that we don't even know who else is running against us.
So who is our new president? Because I believe Patrick resigned as being president of the board. Who is our president now? We have no
We don't have one.
replacement?
We don't have one.
Not till we get done with this election.
We have a young lady that was gorgeous that somehow was just appointed to fill his spot. No one knew where she lived, what her credentials were, nothing.
So
She was
as
gorgeous.
our manager, can we ask you
I
to tell
can't
us that
answer.
information?
I cannot answer any questions today. I'm a resident.
Of course not, you can't.
No.
You asked a good question, and you're part of it. All you have to do, is talk to 3 of your friends that live in River Shores. If each one of you spoke to 3 people, or even the renters, and tell them, we want you to look at a good group that cares about the facility, that's not angry, even though I feel angry, that's not angry and wants to make improvements. And Rob, we haven't given you enough of a chance to speak, is there anything?
I was just gonna, I'm glad you mentioned renters because everybody, I just feel like everybody's my neighbor here. You're all my neighbors and I like my neighbors. And, it's important to have a community like that, to like your neighbors, and I do. At one of the board meetings, I asked a question about the ratio of renters to owners. It was just to find out some information, nothing else. But I have nothing against renters or investors who have renters here. It's great,
With outside management, all of that information's at the click of a finger.
It's hard to hear you.
I said, with outside management, all that information's at the click of a finger on your community website. You can go, you can get the member,